what's up, everybody? Good morning. Just stumbled on this. Kelly Lee Owens. It's pretty interesting. It's not bad. The fascinating thing about this is she's doing this all by herself. You might not like the music. I'm not crazy about it. It's a little too hippy dippy for me. But look right there. One person and a whole bunch of contraptions making all that sound. That's what I'm talking about right there. I'm talking about a couple of keyboards, maybe a hookah pedal somewhere. This is the wave of the future. I've done it. I've made entire. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to talk about music much, but I've made entire albums. 12 songs in a row using a looping pedal. Just me and the loop and the guitar and various pedals and such. I love it. I love to see it when it happens. I don't know. I think it could be done a little better. It's a little too esoteric for me. A little too clubby, hippy dippy. I don't know. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning in the chat. Good morning, Pat Haggard. Good morning, Mitch Candiano, Crypto Kate, Christian Lifetime, New York City. Vinny DiMartini is in the house. George's son, Mitch Candiano. Hey, Mitch Candiano, how you doing? He's killing it. Robert Hall, Chris Mike, what's up? Angie TV, good morning. Roddy, good morning. Come on in. We're going to talk about this movie. Fucking, how many people told me to watch the goddamn movie? It's like crazy, man. Everybody and their mother and their mother's mother is telling me to watch this goddamn movie, right? So I watched it, all right? All right already. I watched the movie with Judy Mitkoff, whatever her name is. Okay, what's her name? Judge Judy. No. Judy Mikovits, excuse me. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Judy Mikovits, the alleged conspiracy theory. I'm not going to play the whole video because, hey, you know what, man? You get striked. She's getting chopped down on YouTube, right? But I did watch it, and it is fascinating. She made some good points. I don't think she, in my humble opinion, didn't nail it home as as factual. She just the documentary reiterates a lot of what we know. The compounding circumstantial evidence that leads one to believe that maybe somebody planned it somewhere. Maybe somebody planned this virus, or planned to have it in a little jar somewhere. See, it's like their collection, like virologists. Some people collect rocks, some people bird watch, some people collect, I don't know, fucking hash pipes or whatever the people collect records. I collect hats, I collect guitars. Some people collect viruses. Like if you're a virologist and you collect viruses, so you got a bunch of jars on the wall, and like in Young Frankenstein, remember the guy, he collected brains, like the human brain and the other brain and the abnormal brain. You remember? People collect things. So it's quite possible that virologists were collecting viruses. They were collecting their accomplishments. Right? It's like a rehearsal studio. You go into the bowels of the rehearsal studio, and you've got recordings of unseen, unheard artists in that recording studio, in the bowels, up the ass of the recording facility, are things that nobody else in the world has ever seen or heard of. Well, why is that unthinkable to think that in a virology laboratory where they make up viruses and genetically alter viruses day in, day out for profit? Why is it inconceivable to think that one squeaked out the back door? Now, again, I don't think that the conspiracy at this point or up till this point was more important than the fact that people actually getting sick. Proving that it's real, that it's a real phenomenon. People are actually getting sick. There are people in hospitals. How many people are dying? To me, that was the most important thing. But now that we know that that's a bunch of horse shit, that's all crap, right? Now we move into the realm of possibilities, right? Not to prove that China's the victim. China did it. It's China. Wuhan, the Wuhan, right? And or Fort Detrick. Fort Detrick squeaked it out. But now it's time to start to explore those possibilities because we still have a shutdown economy. We still have a paralyzed system right now, right? So thanks everybody for joining. While you're here, head over to marcusconte.com. Look at this. I put up the clip. Let's see if we're streaming live. Are we streaming live? Not to prove that we are streaming live on marcusconte.com. Look how many platforms we're on. Look at this shit. I figured it out, man. Bro, I'm breaking the fucking bank here. Look at this. We're streaming live on Twitter right now. We're streaming live on Twitter. We are streaming live like a mofo everywhere. Look at this. I think we're even on Facebook. Let's see. We're testing our links this morning. Thank you very much. The more you guys hit these sites, the more Google will pick it up, which is the point. So we're streaming live across all these platforms right now. It's very exciting to me. It's a very exciting moment in Marcus Conteville. And so while you're here, this is the site. Click around, become a Patreon, join. All right, and subscribe, I guess, at Twitter and Facebook. Become a friend. Just send me a friend fucking request, and I'll answer it. I'll make you a friend, whatever. Friend me. All right, and click around on these sites. Become a Patreon. Very, very helpful. When you become a Patreon, you click here, join, and it takes you over to. I hate to be a beggar, but this is what you got to do, man. You got to do this to survive, right? Or this is not. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for me or you. So we're becoming equitable. We're building a legitimate website now. We got a real presence on the web. Click around. Thank you very much. So before we jump into this documentary starring Judy Mikovits, well, let's look at some of the other shitstorms that are going on in the world of COVID-19. So here's the NYPD deploying 1,000 cops to remove homeless people. Homeless people, no, they're the problem. Homeless people, get off my train. Get off my train. Deploying 1,000 cops. That's a lot of cops to remove homeless people from the subway. Why? Because they got nowhere to go and they're a nuisance. Cuomo said, "Oh, they're getting in the way of real people who have to get to work. It's disgusting," he said. What a fucking idiot! What a fool! What a buffoon to say something like that about fellow citizens that are down on their luck. So here's the cops surrounding a homeless lady. Here's a couple of cops. Here's a whole lot of cops not social distancing with no masks on early in the morning when nobody allegedly can see them. Right at Columbus Circle, right? How many cops got corona? How many cops called in sick because they were sick with the virus? And now they're walking around playing with their phones and they're outside having roll call with no masks. For one, look, I say masks are a stupid idea, but if you're going to impose it on others, you better take your fucking mask out and put it on when you're 6 foot distance. Are they testing all these cops? Just something to think about. And here's a guy, right? NYPD officers stand around a passenger who was subdued after he attempted to jump in front of a moving train during an operation to clear cars of sleeping passengers. The guy's sleeping. He wakes up the 10 cops. And he tries to jump in front of the train. That's what's going on, man. More than 1,000 cops will swarm the city streets. Early in the morning, they did this already. They've already shut down the subway between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. for disinfecting. So 4 hours every morning, the subway system is shut down and it's disinfected. So how does it work out? So here's de Blasio. Over half of homeless removed from subways accepted help from city outreach. Now that, if there's ever a distortion of the facts, that's one of them. When 4 cops are standing over you, telling you you can either get the fuck out of here, or we'll arrest you, or you can get in that you can get in that bus over there, and we'll shuffle you over to the shelter where you'll wait in line to sleep in a chair. And most people, let's see what he has to say. The guy's a quack. I'm not watching another fucking commercial. Oh God, you're killing me with these commercials. Okay, let's go with it. Visible signs of aging. And you can use this ointment and your age will go backwards. Discover vitamin C.
Last night, 139 homeless
I think it's a little low.
out of 252 who were engaged by our
I don't really want to watch this cocksmoker because I can't hear.
NYPD officer specially trained in homeless outreach.
Let's read what he said. Because I don't really care. This guy's voice goes right through me. Just after half of more than 250 homeless people ousted from city subways early Wednesday amid historic overnight closures for coronavirus cleaning took the city up by its offer. What the fuck is he talking about? Last night, 139 homeless individuals out of 252 who were engaged by our outreach workers and by the NYPD officers specially trained in homeless outreach agreed to accept support. That's like holding a gun to someone's head and say, you want me to pull the trigger or you want to get on the bus and go to the shelter. We've never seen so much success in a single night before. I don't know, man. Oh, there's some more pictures. Let's watch the pictures. Shuffling homeless people. That's the big theme. Is it right to guys are down on their luck. People snapping pictures. Look, he's homeless. He's got no home. You see this all the time in New York, right? People just sleeping on the subway. Is it a bad thing? Guys sleeping. He's got nowhere to go, man. He's got nowhere to go. Right? This is home. Home down in the subway. It's nice. It's empty. It's quiet. It's clean. You see this all day long, back and forth on the trains. I live at the end of one of the routes, the R train. I live at the last stop, so that's where you'll see a lot of homeless people sleeping on the car, and then they switch cars and they go back the other way, or they just wait for that train to return. But you'll often see them in there sleeping, and they do a very good service of locking the bathroom so they can't use the bathroom. So then they piss in their pants and piss on the subway, or take a shit on the platform and then you step on it. It's all good, right? This is how we treat the homeless. This is how we treat the most needy of all people. I don't know. So Mark Conte reporting. What's up, everybody? Good morning, everybody. I'll try to be upbeat. I'll try to be positive about the latest in the coronavirus craziness. I can't wait to watch the movie. We're going to watch a little bit of the documentary. I left a link down below. Hopefully it doesn't get knocked out by YouTube. And so this is very interesting. This guy, check this out. We're going to talk about now we're going to move into, is it a conspiracy theory? Do the numbers match? Does the curtains match the rug? That's what we're trying to find out. Do the numbers of how many people died from this COVID-19 thing versus how many people were infected by it, right? We know the fact. We know that there's millions of cases, very low amount of death. That's confirmed. But we still have politicians telling people to wear masks. We still have politicians telling people stay 6 feet apart. All businesses are closed. Right? The curtains don't match the rug, is what I'm trying to say. And now we have to say, well, what is the motivation for keeping things closed? And if there is a motivation for keeping things closed, there quite possibly could be a motivation for having closed it in the first place, which leads into the idea of a plandemic. I'm not there yet. I think that there's overwhelming evidence that the virus probably was manufactured in a lab somehow. Now, was it set out purposely? I don't know. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence, but there is now mounting evidence that it is possible. The evidence is now leaning towards a manufactured virus that slipped out somewhere. Okay, but that doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that it's still not that deadly. It's not killing. It's not the thing that's killing people in the hospitals. We're learning is malpractice. Is sticking tubes in the wrong fucking hole, and putting feeding tubes down someone's lung. and defibrillating people with a pulse of 40 and deoxygenating them when you should be oxygenating them using a ventilator. That's what we're finding out. Gross negligence in hospitals is really the issue. So here's a guy who's pissed off. This guy, he's an Italian guy. He's an Italian leader. And his name, let's look at who he is before we see him. His name is Vittorio Sgarbi. Vittorio Sgarbi. Hey, Vittorio Sgarbi. That's an Italian guy, right? An Italian art critic, art historian, politician, but he's also he's a politician. He was appointed curator of the Italian Pavilion of the 2011 Venice, blah, 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 right? Several times a member of Italian parliament. He served also in Milan's municipal government. So he's a real guy. He's a member of the Chamber of Disputes. Right? Incumbent. He's held the office since 2018. I don't know what that means. Chamber of Disputes. But nonetheless, he is a prominent Italian politician standing up in his chamber, screaming at the top of his lungs that it's a whole farce. This is a and thank you, John, for bringing this to my attention. Somebody brought this to my attention. But listen to the guy go full rail that it's in Italian, so you got to read. You got to read it. I'll try to read it.
Siamo alla vigilia del 25 aprile e occorre essere uniti contro le dittature e uniti nella verità. Non facciamo di questa l'aula della menzogna. Non il 26 febbraio, ma il 9 marzo.
The science invoked here, he said,
diceva
that the virus was little more than an influenza.
Quella scienza
that science is what inspires this government.
Governo. È detto, è stato detto, è documentato, è stato detto. Non
Don't lie, tell the truth.
Allora, dite la verità.
Don't make this chamber of lies, at least the principle.
Almeno qui si applica il principio di Giambattista Vico.
Bunch of Italians said something.
E allora,
so you have heard, and you have given the numbers, and you have been given the numbers.
Li voglio dare anch'io. No Dattis, no Pagani.
Just read it yourself.
Non dite anche qui 25.000
Don't also say 25,000 deaths. It's not true. Don't say 25,000 deaths in Italy. It's not true. Don't use the deaths for rhetoric and terrorism. Now, this is a real politician. I don't hear any of our politicians. I don't hear fucking the Squad or Bernie Sanders saying this shit. I don't hear any Republicans saying that it's all rhetoric and it's terrorism. But in Italy, they're doing it. Good for them.
Non è vero. Non usate I morti per retorica e per terrorismo. I dati dell'Istituto Superiore.
I get flashbacks of when I was a kid. My grandparents screamed in Italian. It sounds very familiar. The numbers from Higher Institute of Health say 96.3%
96,3% sono morti
die from
per
other
altre
diseases.
patologie.
Exactly, the data, the numbers.
I numeri, dice questo. È la verità, è la verità.
Colleghi.
And they're trying to shut him down.
Collega.
Esattamente così. Vi ho letti tutti.
Tutti.
Il 60% sono morti per altre patologie, detto dall'Istituto Superiore della Sanità. Se non lo sai, studia.
Collega Sgarbi, si rivolga. Collega Sgarbi, collega Trizzino, collega Sgarbi si rivolga alla Presidenza.
Sono i contagiati e mentre l'Italia è la zona rossa qui.
Everyone was here without a mask. Today Bassini is accused because he has to wear it. You are ridiculous. You don't wear it until today. That is exactly how it is. In Germany, the economy, healthcare.
Il 4 maggio funzioneranno perfettamente. Siamo uno Stato con minori diritti nell'Europa.
We have fewer rights in Europe, fewest rights in Europe.
Ha dato prove di forza e di risposta giusta. Noi qui siamo umiliati.
We're humiliated by Germany, even in illness.
Abbiamo chiuso il 60%.
We have closed 60% of our businesses. I've given you the data, Trezano. Go check it out.
È chiaro che io fui il primo a chiedere la chiusura del Parlamento. Oggi siamo qua, tutti mascherati. L'altra volta c'era soltanto dell'unto, c'erano pochissimi.
Everybody in masks. He has no mask on.
Che portavano la mascherina. Oggi si è additati se non la si porta. Ebbene, proprio perché la verità è la cosa più importante.
So I guess you get the point, right? He screams a little more.
Di applicare delle norme.
He's screaming his ass off, right? Italian politician screaming his ass off, saying that the whole thing is a fake. We don't have 25,000 deaths. That was the big line right there. He said openly that his research shows that they don't have 25,000 deaths. We'll never know the real numbers, how many people actually died. They told us here 17,000 people died in New York alone, or whatever the stupid number was. And then on further investigation, they're dying of malpractice, they're dying of other illnesses, they're dying of neglect, fear. Same thing with AIDS. People were terrified. Nurses were terrified, and now they're going to call the nurses and the doctors heroes. The medical profession is terrified to go into the room with a person with COVID-19 because they don't know what it is. They're scared, and they don't go in there, and they mistreat the people. All right. Get your people out of there. This guy calls for go in and save your fellow Italians from malpractice and all this shit, right? There's another one in Mexico, same deal. So that's just an interesting clip by Vittorio Sgarbi. How about Sgarbi? What's up, everybody? Good morning. Sterling Price in the house. Vinny DiMartini, motherfucker. Crypto Kate, Camo, Masso, MB Bayak. What's up? Carol Hayes is here too. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So what else we got here? So masks. Put your mask on. Put your scary mask on. Wear your scary mask into the store and into the square so only people could see your eyeballs beaming at them. Don't make facial expressions at people. Put your scary mask on to keep your germs in and keep their germs away. Germinate. Breathe in your own air. Carbon dioxide out, carbon dioxide back in. Now there's evidence to say that we're actually, this Judy Mikovits, whatever, said that we are, by wearing a mask, you're re-inoculating yourself with the virus each time. So if you had it, you're more likely to get it again, have a flashback, right? Because that's what your lungs are for. That's what you're doing. You're breathing out excess. You're breathing out toxins. Right? You sweat it out. You piss it out. You shit it out. You breathe out bad air. Bad gases are exchanging. That's what your lungs are for. Breathe in fresh air, oxygen. Breathe out carbon dioxide and other stuff, right? So if you got a mask in the way, blocking that shit, right, all day long, you're not getting the right air. You're breathing in. Again, I live in New York. I have to wear a mask to go into the store by law, or they won't let you in. They'll say, like in Whole Foods, they got a big angry black guard saying, "Yo, put your mask on, motherfucker." "Yo, sir. Put your mask on, sir. Or you can't come in, sir. Put your mask on, sir." You get that at the door. So you put your mask on. But that's only for like 5 or 10 minutes. Right? And then I do the put your nose out and just breathe through your nose so you get some air so you don't fucking kill yourself. But not everybody's paying attention. 2 boys dropped dead in China while wearing masks during gym class. See, I told you, man. I see people all day long jogging. They're out on the jogging trail with a mask on. What the fuck are you doing, man? What's wrong with you? What kind of science are you reading, man? Don't you know the gas thing, the gas exchange that I just told you about? People are so silly, man. Sometimes you think to yourself, people, how silly are you? A group of children wearing face masks amid concerns of the COVID-19 coronavirus running along a street in Beijing. Oh, this kid's smart. At least he's got his nose out. These other idiots got their... 2 Chinese boys dropped dead in a week of one another while wearing face masks during gym class, according to a report. The students, who were both 14, were each running laps for a physical examination test when they suddenly collapsed on the track, Australian outlet 7 reported. One of the teens was only minutes into his gym class when he fell backward and banged his head. He was wearing a mask while lapping and running the track when he suddenly fell backwards and hit his head on the ground, his father said. They tried to revive him to no avail. The death certificate listed the cause of sudden cardiac arrest, but no autopsy was performed. Sudden cardiac arrest. Yeah. Two kids don't just take heart attacks. There's a reason. The boy's father said he believes that the mask his son was wearing, was required to wear to school, played a role in his death. It was required. I suspect it was because he was wearing a mask, he said, adding that it couldn't have been comfortable wearing a mask while running. You think? I don't think mask wearing has caused some idiot from the Chinese medicine school of corruption and misinformation said, I don't think mask wearing has caused his sudden death, he said, though she added that it was impossible to say without an autopsy. Aha. Impossible to say without an autopsy. So you got to autopsy those kids and find out if they had excess carbon dioxide in the blood, bicarbonate, whatever it's called. He had been wearing an N95 respirator and running a 1,000-meter exam when the fatal incident occurred. So he's wearing one of the most intrusive kind of masks, the N95 respirator that doctors wear in surgery, and the young boy of 14 years old was told to put your fucking mask on while he's running around the track. And he died. Two of them. So I don't know. No, that's just a conspiracy theory, right? Masks cause people to breathe in their own air and kill themselves. Well, there's the evidence. There is the evidence. So here in Mexico, check this out. Not here in Mexico, I'm in New York, but there in Mexico, Mexican mob storms hospital claiming coronavirus is a government conspiracy. Ooh, see, when people are waking up, and we're living in an age of censorship, just to speak about this is grounds for censorship. Marcus Conte's video today can be censored for just speaking about this possibility that it was either the virus leaked out of a lab somewhere and it was some sort of plan by some crazy person, and that the death rate is not what we thought it was, that the death rate is actually much lower and the rate of incidence of coronavirus is actually much higher, that it resembles it resembles a mild influenza, or not, actually a little more severe flu. It's now becoming illegal or socially unacceptable to speak these things. We're now living in an age of censorship that I never thought I'd see. I mean, I remember the censorship of the early 90s, being in a Dick and Pussy band, and being on stage singing about Dick and Pussy, and crazy, pushing the boundaries of parental foul words, the 7 words you can't say on TV, as George Carlin said. And that was, we were received by the PMRC, the Parent Music Research Organization, PMRC, Parent Music Research Committee, right? Led by Tipper Gore and Al Gore. And that was to push back on vulgar speech, what was once considered vulgar, like saying dick and pussy. Now you could say those things. Nobody cares, right? Because it's funny. It's funny. Vulgarity sometimes is funny. F you, this, that, the other thing. It's colloquial now. That language has become colloquial, and they tried to say that it was destroying our children. Now it's shifted, which I never thought it would. Now politics is destroying the youth. Politics is destroying your mind. You can't think for yourself. You couldn't possibly make up your own mind, could you? You need us to tell you what is proper and what isn't, and to talk about the possibility that coronavirus might just have been a plan or might have been a leak in some way in China. Well, we're allowed to say that because that's what Pompeo and Trump want you to say. They want you to believe now that it is a leak from Wuhan, that there's mounting evidence. But again, no proof, because no one's been inside of the Chinese laboratories. And we have the identical laboratories here. We have identical virological laboratories that do the same thing. It's just like saying Russia spies on us. We spy on Russia. We spy on everybody. Everybody spies on us. That's the nature of politics. Spy on the other guy. Get their inside deal. So people are waking up to the fact. But it's you got to walk on eggshells now. You got to watch what you say because of the censorship police. YouTube will detect those words. The C word. Ooh, the V word. It's going to, the P word, the pandemic word. Ooh, they're going to start detecting the words and splicing out our videos to limit speech in those areas because hey, you're a toddler, man. You're a peon. Put your scary mask on and sit in your house and starve until we tell you it's okay to come out. You got it? Because that's the new world order. All right? We say get in your house and shut the hell up, and you say okay, thank you, and you go and you do it. And you put your scary mask on. You crawl out of your house. You go buy your milk and eggs, and then you run back in your house and you shut up. You don't go on the internet talking about it. You don't go watching movies that contradict what we're telling you is right. You just accept it, man. You swallow it. Swallow it. How does it taste, man? Swallow that shit. Right? That's what you got to do. But not in Mexico. Mexican mob storms hospital claiming coronavirus is a government conspiracy. Let's watch a little clip. Aha. After being convinced coronavirus is a government conspiracy, other recent footage shows National Guard troops patrolling the hospital entrance. An angry citizen. See, they're not buying it, right? That's a hard one. Oh, please, don't give me a commercial. No. All right, so an angry mob stormed a Mexican hospital to rescue a coronavirus patient, claiming the global pandemic is a lie and a government conspiracy, according to news reports. You know what? If I had somebody that was close to me that was in a hospital, I'd fucking go in there and I'd get them out right now. That's what I would do. Even if they were on a respirator, I said disconnect the respirator, take it off, take the ventilator out, and Auntie Mabel is coming home with me. I put her in a wheelchair and we're out of here. I'm checking her out. I'm her next of kin. I'm her I guess I don't know. There's a phrase for it. You're the person, the closest contact. And I'm taking Granny out of here because you guys are killing her. You guys know what the fuck you're doing, man. So an angry mob in a Mexican hospital rescued a coronavirus patient. A crowd of nearly 300 people, egged on by chatter from a local Facebook group, rushed a hospital in southern Mexico Providence on Monday, demanding to examine the unnamed patient themselves. Wow. Coronavirus is a lie, one member posted on the Facebook page. Let's not fall for it. All right. The crowd also demanded an end to coronavirus lockdown restrictions, claiming the virus doesn't really exist, according to the report. Originally published, I would dispute that. I think it does exist, but I think it's just a variant of the flu. But to some degree, it doesn't exist because it's not a big deal, God damn it, that the hospitals are now killing people with this. See, it's like you gotta roll it back. Like the moment when hospitals and doctors suddenly weren't allowed to actually do their job, and you had politicians like Trump and Cuomo and de Blasio and Newsom and other governors in Washington dictating the medical treatment for people. Ventilators, we need ventilators, get some ventilators. We need 7,000 ventilators. How many ventilators you got? We'll buy 25,000 ventilators. Get the ventilators. And now they flood the hospital with ventilators, and the doctors look at each other and say, okay, well, I guess that's what the government research is suggesting, that we got to ventilate everybody. They start ventilating people, and they start killing people. Yeah, that's what happens, right? Let the doctors do what they have to do. Right? They're treating something different with the same old formula that doesn't work. The crowd also demanded an end to coronavirus lockdown restrictions, claiming the virus doesn't exist, according to the report. The man was the third resident of the town to be hospitalized. Okay. with COVID-19, the outlet said. Hospital officials blocked the entrance and called in the National Guard, which secured the scene and cordoned off the building and part of the nearby park. Mexico had more than 26,000 confirmed coronavirus cases on Wednesday, with 2,500 dead from the global pandemic, according to Johns Hopkins University. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Johns Hopkins up here in New York said, yeah, okay. So these people should get a trophy for this. 3 people diagnosed with COVID-19 in their town, and they went in there and tried to rescue the motherfucker. Try to get him out of there, wheel him out. 300 people couldn't do it. They got the National Guard. That's why family member. If you're in family member could get them out. So it's an interesting piece, right? U.S. may require face masks. With all we know now, we're going to get into this. The Plandemic is next. Again, I can't really play it because it's already been banned on YouTube. I'm just going to play pieces of it, the highlights, and we'll talk about it. And then the link is down below. If you want, I could give you the link for yourself where you can go watch it. It's off YouTube. So yeah, here's the link. Take it. Do what you got to do with it. And now you got the link. You can go watch it on your own until it gets knocked down there. But it doesn't look like it's going to go away. We'll be able to watch it for a while and talk about it. 25 minutes, man. It's pretty good. It's good stuff. So U.S. may require face masks at airports to limit coronavirus spread. Okay, you got to wear a face mask in the airport. What about on the plane? A 5-hour flight, you got to wear a mask? That's fucking sick. People wearing masks. This guy don't have his mask on. Where's his mask? Was he going to get a ticket? So airports now, travelers may have to wear masks in U.S. airports to limit the spread of coronavirus, according to a report. With no evidence, right? No evidence to suggest that it works. The Transportation Security Administration has been discussing whether to implement face covering requirements as part of a slew of new initiatives to protect travelers and employees during the deadly pandemic, sources told Reuters. I can see what's going to happen already. I just got the vision. What you're going to do is you're going to get a team, a whole law firm, a whole fucking nasty Jewish law firm here in New York, in the bowels of New York, and they're going to start suing people. You're going to start seeing posters up. Have you been sick? Did you get sick from wearing your mask? You'll see lawyers now. They'll start building up lawsuits, like class action suits. And the first person that wins a case, if some lawyer gets off a case that says a mask caused that, like for example in China, that the mask caused the death of the 14-year-old boy, and damages are awarded. Oh my God, what an avalanche, what a shitstorm of lawsuits are going to be filed. And that's when the masks go out the window. So if you're told to wear a mask, I think it's like the motorcycle helmets in California. They told everybody you're on a motorcycle, you got to wear a helmet, bro. If you don't wear a helmet, if you don't put your helmet on, you can't ride a motorcycle. And to that, the people of California took their helmets and threw them on the steps of City Hall, and there was the end of the helmet law in California. Now we should do the same thing with the masks, right? See, masks actually, what's interesting too is there should be biohazard garbage pails all over the city now because a mask is considered a biohazard. It's considered like a medical waste. That's what it is. You're covering your face to prevent the coronavirus going both ways, and then you take it and you throw it on the street. You're adding to the problem. But I don't see any of that. I don't see any biohazard cans set up. I don't see any of that shit. Right? So long story short, you might have to wear a stupid, scary mask in an airport if they should ever open up. So here's the video, right? So I want to play this part of it. So let's look at who she is. Again, you got to watch it on your own. Right? I can't really play a lot of it. But Judy Mikovits is a American anti-vaccine activist and former medical researcher. She has made discredited claims about vaccines, according to Wikipedia. Discredited claims. I don't know about that. As research director of CFS Research Organization, Chronic Fatigue Syndrome Organization, from 2006 to 2011, Mikovits led a research effort that reported in 2019 a retroactive virus, blah, blah, blah. She did some work there. What is, she's educated at Mikovits, got a bachelor's degree in chemistry, biology. I guess she's a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology at George Washington University in D.C. Her PhD was in negative regulation of HIV. She claims to be very, very intimate, close to Fucci, whatever his name is, the doctor leading the charge. Fucci. Anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. Mikovits has become a champion for believers. I'm just trying to poke holes in who she is. Who is the woman saying this stuff? Right. For believing in medical conspiracy theories based on claims, autism and cancer and other retracted papers, and claiming she had been jailed by influence of the deep state. So she was jailed. She was in fact jailed for 5 days and let free and held without any crime. It was dismissed. So she's not a criminal. She's not someone who spent 100 years in jail. And so she spent 5 days in jail on trumped up charges of trying to steal a code from a laboratory. That was the charge. So that's who she is. Let's listen. Here was the most fascinating thing she said.
Do you believe that this virus was created in a laboratory?
I wouldn't use the word created, but you can't say naturally occurring if it was by way of the laboratory. So it's very clear this virus was manipulated. This family of viruses was manipulated and studied in a laboratory where the animals were taken into the laboratory. And this is what was released, whether deliberate or not. That cannot be naturally occurring. Somebody didn't go to a market, get a bat. The virus didn't jump directly to humans. That's not how it works. That's accelerated viral evolution.
That's not how it works. Do you hear what she said? That's not how it works.
Natural occurrence, it would take it up to 800 years to occur. This occurred from SARS-1 within a decade. That's not naturally occurring.
I think that's her greatest contribution right there. She's saying that the virus could not possibly have been, it could not have evolved from the SARS virus naturally. It could, but it would have taken 800 years. Now that is significant. That's significant. That's something that's new. That's a new fact right there. All right, let's think about that for a second. That's new, because if viruses mutate, we keep thinking, oh, these viruses, they mutate, and COVID-19 is just a mutation of some other virus. But here's the good Dr. Judy saying that it takes, for it to effectively have mutated from one to the other, from the SARS virus to what we now call COVID-19, naturally it would have taken 800 years. And it was accelerated in less than 10, in a decade, right? Through mixing and matching, through the collection of mixing viruses. So I think that's pretty significant. Right? So she's indicating that the virus is very, very likely. You have to watch the whole thing. You got to watch. It's kind of riveting, but it's not. In my view, there's not a lot of solid evidence. It's just a lot of theory. It's a lot of conspiracy theory.
And do you have any ideas of where this occurred?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it occurred between the North Carolina laboratories, Fort Detrick, U.S. Army Research Institute of Infectious Disease, and the Wuhan laboratory.
3.7 million.
And what is your evidence for that? You're just saying it. We've all heard Fort Detrick was doing some experimenting and Wuhan was doing some experimenting. But what about the other places? What about, I mean, all over the world they're doing this kind of research. Right? All around the world. That's what virology is. Right? But she's not giving you any evidence. She's just echoing what we've already known.
$1 billion flowed from the National Institutes of Health here in the U.S. to the Wuhan lab in China, the same lab where many people have said that this coronavirus infection first originated. We also now know that NIAID, the department associated with the National Institutes of Health, of which Dr. Anthony Fauci is in control, had already been conducting experiments with the Wuhan lab in the past.
So she makes, again, the whole video is trying to make the tie-in to Fauci, the top doctor sitting to Trump, knew all about it and planned it. So she leads into this Plandemic. Now, I don't know, man. I for people that have watched it, you give me it's only part 1, it says, too. Plandemic part 1. So I guess there's more to come with this. But in the chat, you tell me, do you think it's... I think that... I'll tell you what I think first. I think that the film itself, the documentary itself, it's interesting to listen to. It ties in a lot of the medical doctors that have... Dr. Erickson is in there. Seidel is in there. Dr. Seidel, who told us about the intubation. Erickson, who told us about the millions of cases, very low amount of death. And the documentary filmmaker makes the case for that. But in my view, I don't think it nails home the title. Was it planned? I don't think so. I think it's, experimentally, that's what goes on in virology laboratories. Now, was it planned? Was it expected to happen by people like Bill Gates? Give me a 1 if you believe it was a plan, and give me 2 if you believe it still can't, if you're in my camp where you still can't prove that it was planned. Right? I think at this point we could safely say that the virus was manufactured in a lab. I'm comfortable saying that at this point. Now knowing what this particular doctor is saying that is based in fact, that you can't, that for something that is a virus that is known, like SARS, to mutate into COVID-19, which is what they're suggesting and saying over and over again, it would have taken 800 years to happen naturally. So it was laboratorily induced. I think it's safe to say that somewhere somebody fucked up. Somebody fucked up and made this virus that squeaked out of a lab, and it wasn't that devastating. It was just something different that the medical profession wasn't ready for. And they were treating it as if it was something else. They were treating it as if it was ARDS, a respiratory problem. And they were literally killing people by intubating them. So anyway, right? So most people think, let's see, a lot of ones think it was planned, the whole thing. All right. Sterling Price is in my camp, too. A 1.5 Sterling Price. All right, everybody thinks, is it planned? I don't know. Let's watch some more. Let's see.
In regard to coronavirus, if Dr. Anthony Fauci cannot be honest with the public about his connection to this lab, then Fauci has to go.
In 1999, I was working in Fort Detrick in USAMRIID there, and my job was to teach Ebola how to infect human cells without killing them. Ebola couldn't infect human cells until we took it in the laboratories and taught him.
It's hard to ignore the death tolls. People have been dying. They are dying from this in quite alarming numbers. How do you reconcile that?
It's pretty easy when you see, for me, when you see what the government has done, and that is that they took, quoting Dr. Birx,
we've taken a very liberal approach to mortality.
If my husband were to die, who has COPD, his lungs have fibrosis, his lungs would look exactly like somebody with COVID-19 theoretically, but he has no evidence of infection. So if you're not testing and you don't have evidence of infection, and if you walked in there today, they'd call it COVID-19.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. Everything is COVID-19. COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is being diagnosed as COVID-19, no infection. Right. There you go, man. So she's got a lot of truth to her, but I'll leave it here and just say, go watch it. If you don't have the link, here it is. Go watch the thing, right? And it's also in the description box down below. If you're watching this late and you're not watching it live, is that the takeaway is that there is the gist of the of the documentary was to pin down, is it a plan? Was it planned? And I don't get that. I just get more of these conspiracies, more of an inflated conspiracy theory from her, without the real proof, right? Who planned it? Who did it? And why did they do it? And how did it start? There's no evidence in how it was planned, other than if you're calling the manufacturing of a virus a plan, well, then it is a plan. They planned this virus to do something, and it's programming. It's genetic engineering. That's what it is. So anyway, Marcus Conte reporting. What else we got here? So we looked at her background. I like this chick, man. So that, again, I encourage you to watch it. It was a good watch, man. Thank you, man. You guys don't have to tell me to watch the fucking thing 10 times now. I'm literally, I got 10 emails. Oh, Conte, you gotta watch this video. Dude, you gotta watch the video. Conte, did you watch the video? Yeah, the video. I watched the video. I'm anxious to see part 2. Watch part 2, man. So thanks everybody for joining us, man. Thank you, everybody. Motherfuckers. What's up, everybody? Sterling Price. Kelly Lee Owens. Kelly Lee. 2 days take. Smoker's cough must be COVID. Yeah, you're right. Carol Hayes started innocently, man-made, escaped somehow. Now covering their asses. Yeah. I mean, I tend to wonder about that theory of leaking out of Wuhan, because I remember covering the Wuhan flu. I remember when it started in Wuhan, and I was sick at that time. I was reporting, I was talking about it on the video. You can see the video at the end of January. I was talking about it, choking my brains out with the flu, a very mysterious, intense flu, where I was hallucinating and I was coughing and I had this dry cough and I was cold and hot at the same time. I had all the symptoms, all of it. Right? But how did it fly from Wuhan so quickly and land in my house? Someone who has very, very low interactions with people. Like I said, I work in my own home, and I'm not out. I mean, I am out in the public, but I'm not like in an office touching everything. So how did I get it? So I dispute that it squeaked out of this lab, at that time. So far, that's what I think. So thank you, Sterling Price for joining us. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini, for your moderation. Sterling Price for moderation. If you got timed out today, that's why. That is absolutely, unequivocally your problem for being a dick. So join me at marcusconte.com, Marcus in the Morning. We're going to do this every morning. I figured out a way to put the clips up first. So we're now streaming live. We're streaming live on 3 different, on my platform, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Maybe we'll go on to DLive and Twitch, but definitely join, man, so I can keep doing this. I got my eye on this new camera. I want to get this new device that's going to really fucking blow people away. I want to do a lot of. I feel like with the videos, I feel like with telephone videos, using an iPhone, you don't get the close up. You don't really get to see people's expressions. You don't get to be right in their face from 100 yards away. And so I want to get a good camera with a zoom lens, so I can start to really, really get the vibe of what's going on with people, and maybe little microphones.
It's very detailed, and
I don't know who this chick is.
And
I don't come here to hear you speak. The artists don't speak; they speak through their music. So thanks everybody. Go watch the movie, man. Go watch the documentary. We'll talk about it another time and another place. Peace, everybody.